And the reality is, when the shit hits the fan and they need to turn it up, they can put together multiple five-man groupings where none of them are a real weak point on the defensive end of the floor, and all of them can dribble, shoot, and pass really well.
Yeah, of course they could do that because they're the champions. See, there's something about winning a championship. It gives you the fervor that you need to turn it up on any given night. Um, Still, you got to make sure you win every game that you could possibly win. You don't need to chase a 73-9 record. I mean, we saw the Warriors do that and how that happened, how that ended up for them. But at the same time, they can do that on any given night because they're the champions. Although they have one of the least respected championships in NBA history, they're champions. And this is their year to prove it. I always tell you guys, bro, Kobe Bryant, um, Shaq, everybody tells you they play bums in the finals, right? They played the Pacers, the Nets, and the Sixers. It was all trash. But the thing is, one, they proved it in the West Conference. The West Conference was stacked. They always went up against the Kings, and they always went up against the Spurs and teams like that, the Trailblazers, teams like that. But when you look at that team, when you win one game, when you beat a weak ass team in the finals, people can sit there and criticize you. But you do have to prove it. Jason Tatum said that when he won. He said that I know everybody gonna shit on this championship, so all we gotta do is win again next year. If you win again next year, then it validates the championship. I've been saying this forever because in 2020, when LeBron and AD won that Mickey Mouse ass bubble ring that everybody disrespects, people are trying to make excuses for why that was such a valuable championship, right? They were doing it at the time. But the truth is, had the Lakers won in 2021, had they beat the Suns, I know AD got hurt, but they wasn't on pace to win anyway. They had a terrible shit show of a season. Had they beat the Suns, had they got to the finals and beat Giannis, then the 2020 championship is solidified. No one talks crap about it no more. You have to two-peat. You just have to. It's always been like that. If Steph Curry and the Warriors didn't get Kevin Durant, and all they had to show for it was that 2015 championship, people would just say, oh no, Kyrie was hurt. They only won because Kevin Love was hurt. Nobody ever says that because Steph Curry won 3 of them. Even though he lost in 2016, he won 3 championships with the same team, basically. So you can't sit here and crap on it. He solidified his resume. The Lakers did it in the early 2000s. Every time LeBron's supposed to do it, he fumbles. Every single time. In 2016, he should have won in 2017. Oh, but they had Kevin Durant. I thought LeBron was the greatest player of all time. Why does it matter if they had Kevin Durant? But they had Kevin and Steph Curry. He had Kyrie Irving. How far of a difference was Kyrie from Steph? Not much. Oh, but Klay Thompson. Okay, he had Kevin Love. He had J.R. Smith, who was balling. He had Iman Shumpert, who could guard anybody. I don't want to hear that. He had Tristan Thompson. I don't want to hear all that. He had enough. Talent that if he was that guy, he would have won. Same thing when people would have crapped on his 2012. Well, no one would have because they want to protect LeBron, but they could have crapped on his 2012 ring because he played in a lockout season and then against some young chumps who were all like 20, 21, and 22. But he went out and he won again in Miracle Lee with a Ray Allen shot, won in 2013, which still was kind of off. But then he had the opportunity to prove that because he barely won that championship and got the snot beat out of him and has the worst losing percentage in the NBA history because they lost by like an average of 70 something points from what I heard. The worst losing percentage in NBA history and got beat by a 37 or 38-year-old Tim Duncan. An old ass man whooped your ass. Oh, but Kawhi Leonard, he was a one-way player. He played defense. Wasn't the offensive showstopper. Stop it. Not at that time. So every time he's supposed to prove it, he doesn't. This is the Celtics' time to prove it right now. Go ahead. Go out there, prove that you can actually be this juggernaut of a team that you look like. And on top of that, go through some heavy hitters. Like, Lord forbid everybody that they ever play get hurt. What are they, second seed? I think the third seed is the Knicks. Please don't tell me half the Knicks roster gets hurt like they did last season. Like, every team that he played, even the Pacers, every team that they played got hurt in the East. So, like, beat the Knicks, beat whoever else, and then beat the Cavs. And that's going to give us nothing but a great show. And honestly, I think that solidifies Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as legends if they do that. And then beat the Thunder. But if you just go up against some whatever ass teams like the Lakers did in 2020, then yes, you got a Mickey Mouse ass, weird ass ring. Yes, it's just what it is. It's always been like that. It's not just a LeBron thing. I know you guys say, y'all only say that because it's LeBron. No, it's not. Everybody else who was supposed to prove it, proved it. That's what they did. When you went through an easy comp, you got a 2-peat. You got a 3-peat. You just got to. And if you don't 3-peat, you got to win it. You got to, what they call a dynasty. You got to be in the finals at least 3 or 4 times in a 3 to 4 year period. Like, look at Mahomes. They won a championship. They beat the 49ers, and then they get the shit beat out of them with the Buccaneers. And then the year after that, they go and they win and they beat the Eagles, a great team at the time. Then they beat the 49ers again. Although I think the refs had their back on at least those 2 series, the Eagles and the 49ers. I saw some weird calls. Outside of that, though, you solidify your resume and yourself as a dynasty. Even though they got blown out this time, they got the shit blown out of them a few weeks ago, they still solidified themselves as a true dynasty. You were in the Super Bowl like, 4 out of 5 years, and you won 3 of them. Bro, nobody's ever crapping on your legacy to the degree where, like, if it was just the 49ers, it would just be Patrick Mahomes has 1 ring. That would be it.
So, like, you're in this situation where it's like, oh shit, we either have to leave our worst defender on Tatum and Brown one-on-one and just pray that they take stupid shots and miss, or we're going to have to send a second defender and allow them to get these catch and shoot looks that they burn everybody with. And what you just saw tonight was a team with LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves unable to create a decent look for like a 15-minute stretch of game time.
Well, that's because you said putting the weakest defender on them. That would be LeBron, bro. I don't remember seeing LeBron locking up or guarding Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. He's the weakest defender. I don't know why I act like he's not. Like, they keep talking about who's the worst defender. Like, it's fucking LeBron, bro. Just say LeBron. It's the cat's been out the bag. He's one of the worst defenders we've ever seen. It's not Luka, it's LeBron. Well, can Luka's defense keep – what? LeBron don't even play defense. You watching them go 4-5 most of the game. Come on, bro.
That is the scalability that they have on defense. That is the scalability that they have on offense. And that's why no matter what I've seen this year, whether it's Oklahoma City going on a run, or it's Cleveland, or it's Houston beating every good team in the league for like 3 weeks, or it's this recent LeBron James-led, Luka Doncic-led Laker run, I don't think any of these teams can reach the level on both ends of the floor that the Boston Celtics can reach. And that's why, to me, they're just clearly the favorite. Does that mean they can lose or that they can't lose? Of course not. They're beatable. Cleveland could beat them. Milwaukee could beat them. I still think that the Lakers could play a lot better than they played tonight. If the Lakers and Celtics met in a series in the finals, of course I think the Lakers could win. But we would all be...
No, absolutely not. That's a series that ends in 5. LeBron would run out of gas. No, stop. But anyway, he got a point. I think on paper they're the best team. I would give it to the Celtics, and I don't think it's really close from a talent perspective. But like I said, I can still see them losing to the Cavs. That thing about the Rockets are like when you talk about like Kyle Korver Hawks. That's all I always use as an example. The Kyle Korver Hawks. That's what the Rockets are this year. Now they're still developing. Şengün next year might fucking win the MVP. He might develop so well, but as of this year, they're not. They don't have enough in the tank. They don't have enough to even be serious. I could see them a first round or a second round exit. But then again, here's the thing about the West that nobody's talking about. It's really trash. Like the West is as open as it's been in like 5 seasons. It's garbage. Anybody could sneeze their way through. I still, of course, I would pick the Thunder. They should win, or the Nuggets, or the Warriors, because that Jimmy Butler pickup, when the playoffs hit, we know what Jimmy Butler does. The Warriors won like 12 games straight or something like that. They're balling. I think those are 3 legitimate teams. I think the Warriors have the most experience to beat anybody. And I honestly, if I was to pick a team today, it's between the Thunder and the Warriors. It's hard to decide because the Thunder are on pace to win 70 games. Those teams normally get to the finals. Anybody who wins 70 games tends to walk right into the fucking finals. Which is why it was a travesty that the Cavs, who won 66 games, didn't get to the finals that year. And instead got lost to the Orlando Magic. But either way, 70 games, you should get to the finals. But if I saw a team beating them, I could see the Warriors beating the Nuggets. I could see the Warriors beating the Thunder. But just off a record alone, I would probably pick the Thunder. Now, when it comes to the Cavs, again, I already said it. I think that's a game 7 in the Celtics have been known to have their best players fall off in key moments. So he's kind of right on that.
Be foolish to not pick Boston to win these matchups, because when push comes to shove, they got 5 dudes that are all big and strong that can guard a bunch of different positions, and they've got a million ways to create great shots. There was a whole portion there where they're like, hey, why don't we just throw the ball in the post to Al Horford against Austin Reeves? And they got a bunch of good stuff out of it. Porzingis is a whole other option that they can go to on that front. There's just
See, that's the thing that worries me about the Celtics, though. I shouldn't say worry me, but they were literally playing with their food yesterday, and once they had that 20-point lead, they relaxed. But what they didn't expect is that once LeBron went out, that the Lakers would go nuclear. That's because the Lakers do that all the time when LeBron's not playing. But I don't think they were expecting that, and they took their foot off the gas. Everybody's gonna keep saying Lakers almost came back. It's just a way to keep the Lakers in the conversation. Everybody wants the Lakers to be in this conversation so bad as a legitimate team because they want to add something to LeBron's resume. And they haven't been able to in the last 4 to 5 seasons. He hasn't done anything worth adding. Even when they went to the Western Conference Finals a few years ago, he wasn't even playing in the game, the second half of the freaking after the All-Star break. So it's like they just really want they're begging LeBron to do something so that they can keep this Jordan Bron debate that doesn't really exist into the conversation. It's so annoying. It's really pathetic, and it's sad that this is what our media does. But outside of that, it's like, bro, this team, the Celtics last night, they were just playing with their food, bro. They were playing around. The reason why the Lakers won a few weeks ago was the same exact reason. They sat a couple of people out due to injury, and the Lakers can capitalize. But that's a testament to how great the talent is on LA. These role players, like, they're not to be played with. They're seriously really talented. They don't have the rhythm that it takes, though, to really win on a high level because not everybody on that team buys in on defense. They're not playing defense on the string. They're out-talenting teams over the last month. That's just over out-talent, though. They haven't played the best teams in the league. And for all y'all in the comments section, because I've seen it, and oh, well, you don't know, bro. They beat a lot of 500 teams. What does that really mean? 500? What does that really mean? That doesn't make you a serious threat. I've already spoke to you guys about the fact that The only teams that ever win championships are the top or 1, 2, and 3 seeds. There's never been any other seed outside of the 95 Rockets to win a championship. So if you're the 6 seed Suns or the 8 seed Clippers and you just happen to be above 500, who cares that they beat the 8 seed Clippers who are whatever record, 45 and 40, whatever. I know those numbers don't make sense, but whatever, bro. Like, who cares? Let's see how they play against the elite of the elites. The Knicks, they looked good. They took it to overtime. The problem is they won that game off of an injury to the Knicks' number one player. It's hard to put a stamp on what this team does when BS lucky breaks happen like that. Because you're trying to compare what will they do in the playoffs. Okay, so the Knicks, they're not the best team in the East, but that's a test, right? Let's see what they do. It's neck and neck. Okay, so that tells me that the Lakers are on a higher level. They're not a 7 seed. They shouldn't be a 7th or an 8 seed. But does that mean that they can win a championship? No. Because at the end of the day, even if they do win, it's still the Knicks, even though they won off the injuries. You got to see the elite, former champions like the Nuggets. And again, they won one game. Shout out to them. But they play them 2 times in the next week and a half. That's a testament to see where is this team, because we can assure one thing: Jokic will not have another 7-point night. They caught him slipping. Good for them. So let's see when they're put to the metal against the Celtics, right? We saw them play the Cavs twice this year, and they got the dog shit beat out of them. It wasn't even close. The only excuse that you're going to use is, oh, well, it was AD. No, because they were on a run at the time. When they played the Cavs in the first week and a half, they were on a high run. This team, the Lakers had won like 3 out of their first 4 games or something. It was incredible. So they should have won or at least made it close. It wasn't even a competition. Let's see them play the Thunder like they do in a few weeks. How do they look against them? How do they look against the Nuggets? We just saw how they looked against the Celtics. That was a big question. They failed the test, and they failed miserably. Miserably. If you can't beat those teams and get the fuck off the court, basically, you're not that guy, pal, according to Cam Newton.
So many different ways they can win, so many different shapes they can take. I believe that's the best team in the NBA right now. But I want to shout out Jason Tatum. He was doing an amazing job picking on Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves in this game. 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. I thought he was fantastic.
He also picked off LeBron, but he's not going to talk about that. But he was picking the shit out of LeBron, too. See, the thing is, too, is like, that's what the best teams do. They have that mindset. It's chess. He's going to pick you guys apart. He's going to get his buckets. And we saw that tonight. The Lakers scored 13 points in the third quarter, bro. The first quarter, it was neck and neck. The Lakers have very good first quarters. Their third quarters with Luka was better, but they've always fallen off and run out of gas in the third quarter. That's just what they do as a team. You cannot have a team that does that and then say they're going to win the championship with all confidence. It just doesn't happen. And you ask yourself, what happens in the third quarter? They just look like they're out of gas. LeBron is tired. He needs another steroid pump. Their plans go haywire because they're not running the right schematics and the right schemes that they were doing in the first and second quarter. They're not running the same offense. It's a lot of free balling. And then in the fourth quarter, they pick it up. But then the fourth quarter is always like the longest quarter. And it's basically the longest quarter in the NBA nowadays because there's so many challenges being made and so many foul calls being looked at. And they get an extra 25-minute breaks half the time. Or a lot of these games that the Lakers are winning, they're walking through the free throw line. See, the thing is, though, the league can't really do that to the Celtics. They just have too much talent. You cannot falsify fouls on your premier team like the Celtics. They're going to try to do it against the Thunder to slow down the pace of play when the Lakers play. They'll probably, well, they don't play the Cavs anymore, but they're going to try to do it against the Thunder. They'll try to do it against the Nuggets, but it's just not going to work because these teams don't get in foul trouble like that. The best teams don't even get in foul trouble. They don't do ticky-tack shit that most players can flop off of. Luka Doncic was getting so frustrated in that third quarter because he tried to flop his way through the free throw line about 4 times, and they didn't call no whistle because Jaylen Brown's not fouling you. You're putting yourself in position to get him in trouble. They're not going to blow the whistle on Jaylen Brown all day long because he's not fouling you, and he has enough cachet to argue back with the refs, even though they don't really. But he has enough cachet to argue back with the refs, and the refs having to shut their ass up. So you're not going to get your free throw line third quarter points. Luka or LeBron or freaking Austin Reeves. You got to play defense or get off the court. You got to figure it out on offense or get out. Did you see that almost block Jaylen Brown had? Not one point did he touch Luka, but he was up on his jersey. Now, Luka is so great that he banked that mug in. He banked it in, but it's like, bro, Jaylen Brown's not going to foul you. He's just not. He's like that.
This is a concept that I've been talking about for a little while. There's a reputation around the league that Jason Tatum has, and for the record, I felt this way last year, so I'm not trying to like call anybody out, but there's this opinion out there that is somewhat pervasive in the NBA Twitter world where Tatum's like a second tier guy. And I think there was a combination of a bunch of factors that led to that reputation. He was such a good jump shooter early in his career, and then he really fell off and struggled to shoot the jump shot over the course of the previous few years in terms of like being reliably great as a jump shooter. And he added a bunch of strength and a bunch of playmaking talent over that time. And so it was like there was this early version of Tatum that wasn't as big and strong and not as good at reading the floor, but could shoot the shit out of the ball. And then there was this other version of Tatum that was like big and strong and super versatile defensively and like a much better playmaker than most of his peers at his position, but he just wasn't as good as a jump shooter as he needed to be. Tatum has added those two pieces of his game into one now. And he's become this like really dynamic shot maker from all these different spots on the floor. One of the best 3-point shooters, like high volume, create his own shot type of 3-point shooters that we have in the league. And he's this big, strong, super versatile defensive player. And he's one of the best playmakers in the NBA right now. He's put it all together. And like
He definitely has. I think when you look at his game, though, he's had some weird seasons, man. But you got to also realize, like, Jason Tatum has had to play under a lot of changes. The fact that the Celtics stay on top throughout all the changes, they went from having they got Joe Mazzulla, but they used to have Ime Udoka as the coach. He had to change his game. Before that, Marcus Smart was the playmaker, and then they said, well, we need Jason Tatum to be a playmaker. So he went from just having to score to now you have to put weight on and play against the bigs. He was a small forward his first year, then they made him a power forward. Now he has to play against bigger bodies. Then all of a sudden, it's like you have Marcus Smart and you have this identity on this team. We're going to trade half of that away, and we're going to give you a whole different team. Keep in mind, too, he had Brad Stevens. Now Brad Stevens ain't the coach no more. He's at the head of the organization. And then Brad Stevens is bringing in other coaches. And then he had Ime Udoka. And then there's no Ime Udoka no more. He has to change his game again to fit around Joe Mazzulla. And then Joe Mazzulla. Like, he's had so much to have to deal with as he's developing as a young player. So he's had some, I don't even want to say on and off seasons. He's had some great seasons, but he's had some seasons where he's jacked up a lot of shots that he shouldn't have been jacking up. But I think that was just a part of him trying to find his identity on the court. A lot of that is just him finding his identity. Finding out what type of player is he, what type of playmaker is he, what type of defender is he, who is he defending? What type of rhythm is he getting his other teammates in? Is he helping his teammates? Is he making it worse? Is he coding somebody else's ego like how he was doing for Marcus Smart? He had to code egos. He had to be the leader. He had to be the follower when they had Kyrie Irving. Like he's he's I don't want to say like it's a bad thing, but he's had to deal with a lot, and he's proven himself almost every single time that he could figure ish out. And one thing about basketball is it is rhythm. This is why I keep saying the Cavs could win. Like you play one way the entire season. When people challenge you, you answer the challenge, but your rhythm is so on point. Like if you told somebody to go from here, let's say we're 70 games in, and you told somebody to go from being a 3-point shooter to, hey, can you just start shooting mid-range shots in the middle of the season? You threw this guy off. You threw this guy off. We're gearing up for the playoffs, and you want me to be a whole different player. Now, if you started off the season saying, hey, shoot mid-range shots, he could do that all season long, and then you could be ready for the playoffs and win a championship. I need you to shoot off the dribble. I need you to tween shoot off the dribble. And then halfway throughout the season, you know what? Just be a spot up shooter. Don't even shoot off the dribbles. Like, bro, where do you expect my rhythm to come from? And Tatum has had to do that for many seasons. Now, I used to think that he could be the best player in the league, or he had the opportunity, but Jokic is just too good. Shea has stepped up beyond belief, and Giannis, of course. Like, I look at Tatum like he's one step below. He's not some second best player. I really think he could be the 5th best player in the league, 6th best player. But like can he ever get past those other guys? At this point in his career, I don't know. Now, this team could elevate him, but again, the Celtics also play a boring brand of offense. They play that pass Spurs offense that goes unnoticed, and it's unrespected. Like, it's not really that dynamic as it should be. Like, he don't really. He had years too where he tried to be Kobe, and please don't ever do that. But that's the last thing I want to say about Tatum. His problem is he tries to mimic so many different people. You seen it when he won his championship. He was trying to recreate everybody else's glory time instead of creating his own. And I think that's a mental thing that if he got over that, maybe he could pass by those players. But he's so busy trying to be a meme for other greats and being like, he wants to channel their spirits instead of basically building and creating his own, which is what somebody of his body type should do. Like, create your own spirit, bro. Create your own type of personality, your own meme, and stop trying to, copy and paste everybody else from yesteryear. You feel me? It's okay sometimes on certain teams too. It's okay to mimic the talents or like try to pick off of people, but he's not really doing that. He's trying to become them in a weird way. It's just kind of off-putting for somebody of Jason Tatum's personality.
Like, look, does that mean he's going to go outplay the top guys over and over again? No. Like, we've talked about that earlier. Like, I've seen Tatum get outplayed by some of the top guys too, but I've also seen Tatum on the same floor with the top guys multiple times this year look like he's better. He was on the same floor with Luka Doncic and LeBron James, both of whom have, like, LeBron's been playing at like a top 5 level for a month and a half.
No, he has not. Let's stop right there. Stop the lies. No, he has not. He's still a negative on the plus minus. Stop looking at stats and lying to the public. Please stop. I know you guys will never stop, but stop lying to these guys, man. Luka Doncic, no, he hasn't either. He's looked good. Luka Doncic looks fantastic for somebody trying to get into shape, but he's still out of shape.
Luka is Luka Doncic. And LeBron's been playing at like a top 5 guys multiple times this year. Look like he's better. He was on the same floor with Luka Doncic and LeBron James, both of whom who have like LeBron's been playing at like a top 5 level for a month and a half, and Luka is Luka Doncic. And
best players in that series last night was Jason Tatum at 1, Jaylen Brown at 2, Luka Doncic at 3. Come on, bro.
Jason Tatum just looked like he was better than them tonight. And that is a level he can get to. 40, 12, and 8, guys. Like, he is absolutely one of the top tier guys in this league and deserves to be respected as one. I just think that needs to be acknowledged. It's undeniable at this point.
That's going to do it for this video. Actually, it's really not. Let's go look at the stats, bro. Let's go look at the stats.